Hello, welcome to Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob, and this is the Age of Sigmar Stat Center. This is where we go through all the event results over the weekend, and we look at the lists that are doing well, and also the players that are doing well as well. Before we get into this week's results, which are 7 countries, 216 players, with a big team event that did happen this weekend. But we're going to go and look at the updated player rankings, which you'll be able to find on the honestwargamer.com. So these are done by the fantastic Warhammer Rob, not me. Better Rob, and he's been able to put all these rankings together. So if you did play in a 2-day event over the course of the all of Age of Sigmar 4, you'll be able to check it out. There's also going to be a follow-up video where I look at all of the win rates and the faction stats for Age of Sigmar as well. But this is the player rankings, and I have promised that we're going to keep up with these, so we are going to keep up with these. So if we just take a moment to look at the overall rankings, so these are the best performing players across the world. And then, so these are our top 10. So Tom Guan has been able to take over his friend and my friend and our friend, and Tom's my friend, Gavin, in second place. So Gavin was previously in first place. Tom now has jumped up in first place. You can get a maximum of 900 points. So Tom's up there currently on 836. So then we've got Tom, Gavin, Fred Smith from the Georgia Warband in third place. Geir Verdeld, one of only 2 European players featuring in the top 10. Gear's over from Norway with a very solid result line. Matt Beasley from Pacific Northwest is up there in 5th. Hazel Moon is our other European/UK player for the 9-inch fails, up in 6th place. Then Kenneth King for Harambe's Heroes in 7th. Mike Maccabee for the Tough Crowd in 8th. Michael Rausch for High Ground Gaming and all of the Midwest in 9th. And John Anderson for the Georgia Warband has just popped into 10th place, taking out Dom, who was previously there. If we take a look quickly at the club rankings, you'll be able to see that Harambe's Heroes are currently at the top. This is taking a capped culmination of all of their players' results. So it's basically the best amount of, it's like the best 20 results from the club versus like just all of the results. So just because you have a bigger club doesn't mean you're going to get the most results. Get the highest score. So Harambe's Heroes in first, Tough Crowd are in second, Georgia Warband in third, Dimensional Cascade in fourth, 2D6 from Norway in fifth, Corsairs over from Pacific Northwest in 6th. 2D6 are in 5th, 9-inch Fails, our UK-based club in 7th. Warp Dice, again in the US in 8th. The Dojo in the US in 9th. And SoCal United in the US in 9th. So very much dominated by the United States with Norway and the UK, England specifically, I guess, making it into the top list. And then if we just take a moment to look at the faction rankings and just take a quick look, we're not looking to look at all of them. We're just going to take a moment to look at Stormcast, the best performing army so far in 4.1. So I've spelled Stormcast wrong there. So I just put this. So our best player of the best faction is Dom Stonebridge of the 9-inch Fail, Start Pista, and Jack Giga. Dom's got the most event results in at the moment as well, but they're all pretty good. 150 is the cap. He's got 126s. He's got all hundreds, so definitely up there and deserves it. If we look at Zinch, take a moment to look at Zinch, we could see our top performing player so far is Joe Cryer out from Minnesota way. I think that's right. Yeah. And then Danny Alsted over from Norway and Robert Krausik in third place and Corey over from Australia. And I think Robert is over from Germany, I think, but that could be wrong as well. So we've got a little bit of a more diverse kind of top meta there for Zinch. So those are all of the player rankings. You go find them on honestwargamer.com. They're free to go look at and go look at all the players. You can go search yourselves as well if you're interested, which is cool. Yeah, if you wanted to do Beasts of Chaos as an example, you can see that for some reason is an incredibly hotly contested for no real reason. The Nuge currently at the top, but Owen Jackson is chasing him in second place with Gavin in third place as well. All chasing, so looking to be the champs. Anyway, go check out the faction rankings and let's get on and look at all the event results. The first event that we are going to look at is the Festive Grand Tournament 2-day event being held at Element Games in Stockport, organized by Connor Keatley. Shout out to Connor. That's excellent. That's our biggest event this weekend with 34 players battling it out. This was also their first 2-day event. This is the AOS Thursdays group over there. This is their first 2-day event. They've been running a lot of 1-dayers, but they ran a 2-dayer, and amazingly, not over a Thursday. So kind of a an odd situation. Anyway, that's fine. 32 players battled it out. We only had 1-5-0 at this event, and that was James Tinsdale of Team England. Running Stormcast Eternals, it's a list we've seen quite often. The Vanguard Wing battle formation with the manifestation of the Crunchbind Incarnate, Karazai, a unit of Praetors, a unit of Vanguard Paladins with long strike javelins, unit of Star Strike javelins, long strikes, unit of 6 reinforced, a Knight Arcanum, Vanquishers, Vigilers, and Vindicators. So you just watch any of the stat shows I've been doing over the past several weeks to talk about this, but 5 at ward save on Karazai, long strike's doing really well. Super easy tactics, really, for order. They get, like, because of the way you do battle tactics in Age of Sigmar 4, specifically board edges, terrain, center, you're encouraged to leave the board, and when you unpack your army, you move out. And then obviously, when you also add table quarters in, it gives you another additional easy tactic, which I think is cool. Then obviously Storm Strike's a Storm Cast's ability to teleport, as well as take up huge portions of the board, as well as Long Strike's ability to redeploy, just makes this a very effective army currently. So how they're going to change this is going to be very interesting in the future, because this is a dominant build at the moment. We've seen this same list, or very similar list, repeatedly do well all across the world and the country. So going into the 4-1 section, we've got Alex Donkin with a Seraphon list. This is super cool. I love this. He's running the Shadow Strike Star Host. His manifestation is the Primal Energy. He's a Slan Star Master, a Bastildon with the Arc of Sotek, who's got a great rampage that can be done out of combat because it's just units within range. And then he has a unit of Saurus Guard, which I think you probably always need for a Slan. You just got to keep them alive because they obviously bring units back. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 units of Raptidon Chargers. Now, Raptidon Chargers are only 280 points for a reinforced unit. That gives you 30 health. Yes, it's on a 5-up save, but it does give you 30 health that moves 12 inches. As a spell lord, got access to run and charge. And then they've got a lot of attacks from the rider with +1 damage on the charge. So they're fast, effective, and can be fairly tanky. If you do eventually wipe out a unit of Raptidon Chargers, then the Slan's going to be able to bring it back. In the past, and if you look to the Patreon video I made about Neve, I started talking about alpha pinning, where what I described was the way that you're able to block stuff in. And with the reduction or the loss of Battle Shock that you had in Age of Sigmar 3, the game designers haven't really understood how much more effective pinning is in the game. So these charges have great output, but pinning itself is super effective. And then you've obviously got a lot of speed on those as well. Hunters of Haunchy with Starstone Bowlers, also super effective for tactics. And then a Skink Star Priest as well. Alex, thank you very much for showcasing just how good those Raptidon Chargers are. Brilliant. Tom Molt with Saves Darkness running God's Wrath Warband, Manifestation Lord's Primal Energy, and he had Archeon, 2 units of Furies, a unit of Chaos Knights with the Mark of Khorne. So this will be the old book if they're already pre-marked. And then Chaos Sorcerer Lord, and then a unit of Chaos Chosen with the Mark of Nurgle. I think Archeon is very legit. We saw in the very early stages of Age of Sigmar 4, we saw several Archeon 5.0s, specifically coming out of France. So, but we have seen it repeated a couple of other times. But I think more than anything, what one unit of Chaos Chosen with the Mark of Nurgle will show is you can take 1,500 points of anything else and probably still win a game. So shout out to Tom. Congratulations. Richie, again, member of Team England, running the Warp Code Convocation, Manifestation Law, Forbidden Power. He had a Greyseer, a unit of Clan Rats that was reinforced twice, 2 units of reinforced Rattling Guns, a Greyseer, and then a reinforced unit of Storm Fiends. So those Rattling Guns, we've seen 18 taken before, but I feel like this is a much more simple choice. Those 2 units of 6 Rattling Guns are going to do an incredible amount of output. 80 Clan Rats on the board is stunning for objective control, D3 back at the end of each turn. And then somehow he's still been able to fit in 6 Storm Fiends, which obviously are just an absolute powerhouse of a unit. So just really solid, defensive, offensive, great board control, absolutely everything that you want from an army. I would say one of the things that maybe they struggle on, potentially, is early tactics. And Richie was on a sweet submarine here, so that helped. Joe Jackson was running a Vanguard Wing. His list was called, he's actually not got that much shooting. His manifestation was Primal Energy. He's got Karazai, Praetors, and he's got 12 Long Strikes in his list with Neve, Black Talon, and another unit of Long Strikes, taking us up to 15 Long Strikes. No problem here. Don't need an FAQ. Bradley Walsh, and shout out to Joe. Joe's a great human being. Shout out to Bradley Walsh. He is running Skaven, great list. Greyseer, and then he had 21 Storm Fiends. 21 Storm Fiends on a 4-1. Some call it a spam, some call it a theme. And then lastly, Tom Blackstill was running Idoneth Deepkins with the Soul Raider Ambush battle formation. He was running an aspect of the sea. He was running a Leviathan, a unit of Morsar Guard, a unit of Ishling Guard, a reinforced unit of Morsar Guard, sorry, and then a reinforced unit of Namarti Reavers and two minimum units of Reavers, taking us up to 40 Reavers. Obviously, don't forget with Soul Raid Ambushes, you're able to take those units off the board edge, put them to the side. Morsar Guard, we've seen super popular. We've seen the rise of Deepkin. They've literally come from the bottom up. Because they have just been everywhere, at least in the 4-1 sections over the past month to 6 weeks. And they are very, very, very good right now. So congratulations to him. And yeah, shout out to everyone at the event. Hope they had a wonderful time. Our next event takes us over to the fantastic Bloodbath 2, organized by Sean McKee. I've said that wrong, I'm so sorry. But up in Scotland. Absolutely fantastic venue, constantly running events if you want to get up there. This is in Stirling. Sorry, I should have said that. It's in Stirling. Great human beings. They've been working so hard on their community for loads of years. Keep going. Anyway, so this event had 32 people battling out to be the champ. In first place, we have in first place, let me go find it. We got Nate Watson with his Disciples of Tzeentch list. He was running a Weird Flame Host battle formation. He had a Lord of Change, 2 lots of 20 Blink Horrors, 20 Blue Horrors, a unit of Jade Obelisk, then 20 more Blue Horrors, Burning Chariot of Tzeentch, and a Burning Chariot of Tzeentch. And I got to say a special thank you. Oh, wait, it says Kevin when I open it up. Oh, okay. This is Nate who won it, though. The reason that I really like this list more than other Tzeentch lists I've seen so far, and just to keep you up with stats, Stormcast Eternals got the most 5-0s since the 4.1 update. So that was when we got the last battle scroll. Stormcast have got the most wins. In Tzeentch are in second place. One of the reasons Tzeentch have been so good at scoring and winning winning games and doing so well is because of taking Kairos. Kairos' access to doing 2 battle tactics means that you don't need to do quite as much to unpack from a castle. And obviously horrors and other stuff are really effective as well, but Kairos is really key. But as I've said many times before, you don't need to take Kairos if you're just better at the game than other people. Kairos is an easy battle tactic, but if you're just good at playing the game, you can just score battle tactics anyway. So as we pointed out from the very excellent Nate Watson here, right? You can see he's in the chat. That's lovely. But he constantly wins events, constantly does really well. He just decided to not take Kairos, as I've said before, because he's just good at the game. There you go. Simple. Well done to him. Congratulations. Anyway, moving into the 4-1 section, you got the beautiful JJ Cropley. If you've never met this man, great human being. He was running Stormcast Eternals Vanguard Wing. He had Krondys, 3 Praetors. Then he had 6 Paladors with Star Strike Javelins and 3 more. He obviously had, as is tradition, 6 Long Strikes. And then he had a Night Vexilla and 5 Vigilers as well. Port Duduka was running Nighthaunt. He had the Deathstalkers battle formation with Reikenor, 3 units of 10 Hex Wraiths, and then he had the Regiment of Renown, the Sternestein Garrison, with 2 units of Felbats, Graveguard, and Manfred as well. So again, this feels like very alpha pin orientated, with the Felbats definitely being able to control objectives and do tactics and other stuff. Little tactic fellas in there as well. Wow, it's a lot. 30 Hex Wraiths is still horrific, right? Martin Quinn was running Lumineth Realm Lords with the Venari Law Regent. He had 2 lots of 10 Venari Dawn Riders, and then he had Severith, and then 2 Wind Spirits, and then the Conspired Incarnate, and he was running the Hurricane Temple. Still super effective. Still super effective as a list. Scotland absolutely showing people that the lists that are good, were good, still are good, are still effective. So shout out to everyone at that event. Oh, we almost forgot Ross. Ross Sherry was running Deathstalkers in Nighthaunt. He had Outright the Drowner, 2 lots of 10 Hex Wraiths, Reikenor the Grim Hailer, 20 Blade Geist, and 2 Chain Gas. Then he had Guiding Souls and 20 Blade Geist Revenants as well. Fantastic. Again, everything I've been saying about Nighthaunt, a lot of bodies on the board with an unrenderable save. That's going to be really tough to get through. If your opponent whiffs even 1 round, they're not getting out of where they need to get out of to go on and sit on objectives or do battle tactics, which is the key point. And you can, and people will whiff. So congratulations to Ross and everyone in Scotland. Hope you have a great Christmas. Just going to do a special shout out to Martin Quinn. It's Martin Quinn's first ever 4-1. And I hope he's really proud of himself. Well done, Martin. You should be super chuffed. Our next event takes us to the toughest meta in North America. That's right. It takes us to the Pacific Northwest. And if you don't believe me, there was a team event hosted by the Wiki Dicey boys a couple of months ago, which I attended and live streamed. Pacific Northwest crushed all before them. So it's the toughest meta out there. Therefore, the Richmond Reroll GT featuring 32 players, it's the toughest event you can go to. Get yourself over there. Anyway, it was organized by Arthur Nicholson, and in first place, you had Iron Jaws, won by Will Reeves of Warp Dice. So Iron Jaws, he was running, are you asking yourself? His list is called, well, of course this one's better, it's lots heavier and got them spiky bits on the ends. He was running the Weird Fist Battle Formation with the Manifestation or Primal Energy. He had a Mega Boss, a Reinforced unit of Brutes, Zogrock Anvil Smasher, which many of you criticized, a unit of Ard Boys, a unit of Brutes, again Reinforced, a unit of Gore Grunters, and a War Chanter. So this might be just a response to stuff trying to pin units in and just being able to absolutely just blammo that level of output through into the enemy. If not, other than that, it's just a lot of really good armor saves and a lot of good output and a lot of health on the board. So very cool. Shout out to Will. That's very, very fun. Now, moving to the 4-1 section, we can see Matthias Crucial was running the Mortek Ballistari, the Manifestation Lord, the Horrors of the Necropolis. His general's regiment was a Catacross with a unit of Death Riders, a reinforced unit of Archai, and a Mortek Crawler. Then he had a Mortis and Ossifector, Mortek Crawler, and the Terratic Cohort. So we've seen the Mortek Ballistari pop up more and more. Morghast Archai, super popular. They're just an incredibly elite offensive unit. Catacross on the defensive role, very cool. Carson Whitlock, the big Meat King himself, was running Slaves to Darkness in the God's Wrath Warband. His general's regiment was Be'lakor, a reinforced unit of Chaos Chosen, Eternus, a Mutalith Vortex Beast, and a reinforced unit of Varangard. Because these aren't marked, I'm going to assume that this is using the new book. So he would have been choosing, I probably would have been choosing a banner, but maybe the list writing app doesn't let you currently do that right now. But either way, very cool. And I don't expect Slaves to Darkness lists to really change in any particular way. Matt Beasley is running Rats. His list is called All the Ratlings Agree. I'm the Problem, It's Me. He was running the Warp Cog Convocations, Manifestation Laws, Forbidden Power. His general was Thanquol with Clan Rats, a small unit, Night Runners, a reinforced unit, Rattling Guns, reinforced, and Warlock Giselles. Then a Verminal Warpseer, Plague Monks, Rat Ogres, and Warp Fire Throw, all as minimum size units. It's a very Matt Beasley list. Matt's an incredibly cerebral player who's very smart. Definitely wouldn't go like the 18 Rattling Gun route. So lots of small units doing lots of small parts. I really like the Verminlord Warpseer because of its functionality of using 3 claw steps ahead for denying battle tactics and doing a bunch of other really clever stuff in game. But I wonder if he wouldn't have just loved to have had more output in either Rattling Guns or more board presence in Clan Rats, as we've seen. And then Carl LaRue was running Sylvaneth with Lords of the Clan. His manifestation law was Manifestations of the Deepwood. He had Alariel, the Everqueen, Kernoth Hunters with Great Bows, reinforced, obviously. Then Belthanos, unit Gossamer Archers, and 2 units of Spite Rider Lancers. So I feel like the Spite Rider Lancers are replacing what the Gossamids previously sometimes would do in the role of doing battle tactics. They're very fast, but they're a much more punchy, heavy cavalry battle tactics style scoring unit versus the Gossamids, which are really light and can't really fight on the flanks, as an example. Then Belthanos, Run and Charge, Alariel. One of the things we don't talk about enough is just how effective Alariel bringing models back while also you're adding manifestations to the board and bringing them back as well. So a super cool list. I hope everyone had fun. It's a great community. If you ever get the chance to play in the Pacific Northwest, you should. There's a great group of people out there playing, and they're some of the best players in the country. Our next event takes us over to Northern Ireland for the Frozen Empires AOSGT 2024. Now, Northern Ireland's an incredible community coming out of the Exploding Dice gaming group. Based in Bangor. If you ever get a chance to go over there, you absolutely should. Run by Pete, who's just a superstar, and the whole community is really great. If you're UK based, you want to go take a trip for the weekend, go over to Northern Ireland, please do. Great group of people, absolutely brilliant. Anyway, first place, Colin Cochrane. Oh, Cochrane. Colin Cochrane. Yes, nailed it. Fucking nailed it. Colin Cochrane. Running Stormcast Eternals, was running the Sentinels of the Bleak Citadels. He had Karazai the Scarred, a Knight Vexilla, a unit of Longstrike Crossbows, Vanguard Hunters, and 3 Praetors. Then he had Lord Relictor, 10 Vanquishers, 6 Reclusians, and 3 Prosecutors. So Colin's very fresh off a 4-1 over here in the UK, which is great. And I did hear that he was using our brand new Honest Wargamer Pearl dice over the weekend, and they were performing incredibly well in 2 out of 5 games. So maybe too well, some may say. I'm not really sure. Anyway, so shout out to Colin. That's a cool list, nice and diverse. Obviously using some of the things that we've seen in many other lists, Karazai and the Long Strikes, along with the Praetors, but featuring things like Hunters, Reclusians, and Prosecutors, very different as well. And shout out to my friend Colin Cochran. Anyway, in the 4-1 station, we got Solomon Morrow with Nighthorn. He had the Manifestation Law Chthonic Sorceries on from the Battle Formation Vanishing Phantasms. Ooh, a different one. He had Guardian of Souls, Mimron Banshees Reinforced. What is this list? Ragnar the Grim Hailer, then 1-2 units of Reinforced Bladegeist Revenants, unit of Grimghast Reapers, Outright the Drowner, 2 units of 5 Hex Race, and a unit of Chain Rasp as well. Lots of bodies on the board. Running MSU Nighthaunt seems to make a lot of sense, in my opinion. Then we got Tommy Burke with his Seraphon. He was running Sunclaw Starhost with the Manifestation Law Morbid Conjuration. He had a Slan, reinforced unit of Lancers, reinforced unit of Croxigor, unit of Saurus Guard that was reinforced as well. I like that. I think you can take 10 Saurus Guard to defend a Slan, and I think that's very reasonable. Skink Starseer, Bastildon with Archisotech, and 2 units of Hunters of Hauntry with Starstone Bowlers. Brilliant. Like, very, very cool. Very fun list. The Bastildon Archisotech now maybe in trend. You could say it's in vogue. Then we got Hayden MC Murray running, Sons of Behemoth. He was running no battle formation, good. And then he had King Brod, a War Stomper, and 2 Gatebreakers. Truth be told, getting a 4-1 with Sons of Behemoth is probably like winning like LVO or something with the best army in the game. That's genuinely very impressive, because I've read their War Scrolls now. They're garbage. They're the worst army in the game. So that's actually incredibly impressive to Hayden. Anyway, great community, great people. Go out there. They're super cool. See you all soon. Thanks very much. Bye. Our next event was in France with 30 players. They were using this incredibly old Windows 3 website called Tawny Keeper, but they didn't upload or include any of their lists. So you can't click the lists, unfortunately. And so congratulations to Boynaz for winning the event with Zeech. Moving on, we are going over to the USA, where they are freaks and they like pickles in burgers, which obviously is gross. Anyway, so 24 players battled it out for forming the Phalanx. In first place was Austin Thimish, with his Maggotkin of Nurgle, running a Plexus battle formation with a Manifestation of the Primal Energy. His General's Regiment was the Glotkin, a reinforced unit of Puskal Blight Lords, Blobe, Lord of Blights, a reinforced unit of Putrid Blight Kings, and the Rotmire Creed. Very interesting to see them do so well. Then we had Sylvaneth get a 4-1. We had Alariel with the Outcast Battle Formation and the Manifestations of the Deepwood, Belthanos, reinforced unit of Triads, Colonel Hunters with Great Swords, Colonel Hunters with Scythes, Tree Revenants, Arch Revenant, Gossamer Archers, and a Warsong Revenant. So no Alariel in this situation. So a lot of fast-moving, very aggressive combat pieces, the Scythes and the Great Swords, which do incredible work, and Belthanos, but no big Alariel. But the Warsong Revenant still very, very solid, and has got a great scroll spell. Also in the 4-1, Gloomspike Gits with Jonathan Williams was running the Trog Herd. He had Kragnos, a unit of Rockgut Troggoths reinforced, and then another unit of reinforced Rockgut Troggoths, 2 smaller units of Rockguts, and then a Dankhold Trog Boss. So in total, we had 18 Rockguts and Kragnos running across the board, probably lifting most of the stuff in the enemy army very early in the game. Then we had, in the 4-1 section, we had Ideth Deepkin again, just showing off just how popular they are at the minute. With Christian Palmer, with his Achillean Beastmasters, he had an Aspect to the Sea, some Morsar Guard, some Morsar Guard, some Morsar Guard. So a unit of 6 and 2 units of 3. And then the Aspect to the Storm with another unit of 6 Morsar Guard and Reavers. Those Morsar Guard definitely with their D3 damage mount attacks being very effective in-game right now. Super effective, very cool. Hope everyone had a great time. There's a great burger joint right next to the venue for this event. So hope they all had fun. Our next event takes us over to London in the UK, where there were 20 players battling it out in the Kingdom in Flames GT. In first place, you had Matt Goodsborough was running Soulblight Gravelords. He was running the sub-faction, the Bacchanal of Blood. He had Neferata, reinforced unit of Blood Knights, Prince Vordry, 2 units of Blood Knights, and some Death Rattle Skeletons. This definitely takes us, this reminds us of a couple of lists we've seen in the past few weeks, where we've seen Blood Knights feature very heavily in the Soulblight Gravelords list. Great armor save, great mobility, very punchy. Then in the 4-1 section, you have Phil Sprignall with Illumineth Realm Lords, trying to bring him back. And he was running the Alarith Temple sub-faction. His list was called Party in the Front, Business in the Back. He had Avalon or the Stoneheart King, 2 units of 10 Stone Guard, unit of a Venari Bannerblade, 20 Sentinels, and 10 Dawn Riders, and a Wind Mage as well. So similar to what we've seen in previous lists, at least this section. But the Stone Guard, Stoneheart King, definitely something new to see for LRL. And Hazel with Idoneth Deepkin. Hazel actually currently the most successful Idoneth Deepkin player in the world. Was running Achillean Beastmasters with Eidolon and Mathlan Aspect to the Sea. 2 units of Ishlen Guard and Alapex, Lotan, and then 20 Reavers and 2 lots of 10 Reavers in the list as well. So a couple of tactics Reavers, some shooting, and then some Ishlen Guard. So very fun to see them pop up. And then finally, Ben Self with Skaven. Was running the Warpcog Convocation. He had Thanquol, 2 units of small units of Clan Rats, a unit of Doom Flayers, 6 Rattling Guns, a Vermlord Deceiver, Clan Rats, and Night Runners. So lots of shooting and output from the Doom, lots of shooting from the Rattling Guns, lots of combat output from the Doom Flayers, Thanquol on the spell support, Vermlord Deceiver on the teleport, threatening objectives, and then Clan Rats for holding the line, Night Runners for tactics. Very cool. Hope everyone had a great time at the event. Our last event takes us over to Greece. The event is called, let me just go find out. The event is called the Realm Wars AOS 4.0, organized by Flock of Doom and Stratos to Gaius, which is very cool. So this is in Greece, 14 players battling it out. The Greek community, by the way, is small but brilliant. At Worlds, so the World Team Championships, they're always such a great group of people. As individual players, they're incredibly passionate, and some of my favorite people. They're so good. Like, if you ever get the chance, if you're in Greece and you're listening, go join your local Age of Sigmar community and start playing some games. If you're near Greece, travel there and go play some games as well. So anyway, in first place, we've got Konstantinos with his Disciples of Tzeentch. Shout out to him. He was running the Weird Flame Host. His manifestation law was the Forbidden Power. He had Kairos Fateweaver, the Changeling, a reinforced unit of Skyfires, reinforced unit of Zangors, smaller unit of Zangors on foot, so Zangor Enlightened on foot. Normal Zangors, actually. And then a Gaunt Summoner, Chaos Spawn of Tzeentch, reinforced unit of Flamers, and Screamers of Tzeentch as well. So, yeah. We've seen mixtures of either more defensive Tzeentch builds or more aggressive Tzeentch builds, which definitely features Zangors in them. And so this is one of those. So congratulations. This would have been a very tough meta as well. Like, these guys play a lot and they're very, very good. Like, you got to remember, Greece last year beat the USA in a 2-point swing. So super small community, but they still were able to take out like one of the largest, most populous nation teams with a load of backing, with just basically a small club worth of people. So incredibly cool. Anyway, Stratos in second place on the 4-1 with Stormcast Eternals. So then Stratos was running Sentinels of the Bleak Citadel. He had Manifestation or Twilight Sorceries. He had Ionis, 2 reinforced units, 1 of Prosecutors, 1 of Reclusians, reinforced unit of Vanguard Paladors, Lord Terminos with the Quicksilver Draft, Storm Coven, Vigilers, and Vindicators. So definitely with the Storm Coven and the Lord Terminos with the Quicksilver Draft, trying to ping a lot of strike first, strike last at his enemy with things like Reclusians and Prosecutors doing a lot of output, and then Ionis providing the support. And then in third place of one of my favorite gaming clubs in the world, the Demonic Pigeons, is Georgios, I think one of the founding members of them, with his Idoneth Deepkin Achillean Beastmasters army. He's running the Quanspine Incarnate, and then had an Eidolon, an reinforced unit of Ishlen Guard, smaller unit of Ishlen Guard, a larger unit of Morsar Guard, so 2 reinforced units, another unit of Morsar Guard, Aspect of the Storm, and then 2 units of Reavers. So Idoneth Deepkin super popular right now. The double Eidolons super popular. The Morsar Guard and Ishlen Guard really good as well. And lastly, even though it's not a 4-1, but he's my friend and he's a Malacca, Giannis with his Seraphon was running Sunclaw Starhost, He's running Twilight Sorceries. He had a Starseer. He had a Hunters or Haunchy with Starstone Bowlers, a unit of Raptidon Chargers, a smaller unit of Raptidon Chargers, unit of Terror Wings, Saurus Scarvet on Agrodon, 2 units of Lancers, and Saurus Warriors as well. And if you see Giannis's army, you would know why I read it out. It would have been beautiful. Anyway, shout out to all my friends in Greece. Super great human beings. And I hope they had a great time at this event. And that's it for this weekend. That is all of the event results. There was also a large team event over in the USA called the Old Town Throwdown, organized by Old Town Throwdown. And there was loads of cool prizes, as you can see in this video here from their account on Blue Sky. And then you can see, because it was a team event, there was all sorts of cool looking outfits for the teams who dressed up, which is very fun. And I hope they all had a wonderful time. Talking about the meta this week, well, like I would say it's pretty diverse. There is a much more comprehensive stat show that you're about to see or can watch in the next few days, which will kind of break down where we are as a game state. But definitely when we're looking at the 5-0s, 4-1s, there are definitely some factions that are very populous. But even armies that aren't doing well, like Ironjaw's got a 4-1, Gargant's got, Ironjaw's got a 5-0, and Ironjaw's got a 5-0. And Gargant's got a 4-1 is what I meant to say. So there was already, there are some of them underperforming armies that are still doing okay. Some of the armies that require a lot of work, like cities, aren't necessarily being seen as much, a lot to hobby and put on the table. But that said, the other army that requires a lot of work, Tzeentch, is seen a lot on the table. And maybe it's just that power level perspective where you're just getting a lot of bodies on the board. Also a lot of recursion in those armies as well. So any mistakes can come back. But some of the armies that definitely weren't considered to be doing well, and don't forget this is only 1 week's worth of results. Last week we saw Sinesh and Khorne, so they featured and they were a thing. We saw Nurgle do well this weekend as well. So that's all the Chaos covered. For Death, we saw Soulblight do well this week. We've seen Bone Reapers feature heavily over the entire edition, but Soulblight being up there is nice as well. Nighthaunt, obviously, super popular as well. Flesh Eater Court is definitely more on the struggle bus than anyone else. Going over to Order, we saw loads of different armies this week and also last week. We've seen some Daughters of Cain, but not loads. Obviously, Stormcast featuring very heavily for Order, but City's a little bit missing. Definitely, I feel like that they're not there. But Deepkin, super in vogue right now. And then going over to Destruction, Gitz is still good. Gitz has still got a lot of options. And we saw some Gargants and Ironjaws this week as well. So you've got a good variety, even though there are going to be some win rate comparisons a lot. And some armies are doing significantly better than others, but it doesn't mean that people are putting down armies that they like and still doing well with them. And that's worth talking about as well. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. See you soon.